Liselund is an 18th-century aesthetically landscaped park, complete with several exotic buildings and monuments. Located close to Møns Klint on the northeastern corner of the Danish island of Møn, it is deemed to be one of the finest examples in Scandinavia of Romantic English gardening. The park was created in the 1790s by French nobleman Antoine de Bosc de la Calmette for his wife Elisabeth, commonly known as Lise. Liselund, roughly translated, means Lise's grove. Antoine de Bosc de la Calmette was a Huguenot whose family had been forced to leave France for Holland. His father was a diplomat who, after terms in Switzerland and Portugal, finally arrived in Denmark, where in 1776 the family was naturalized and recognized as Danish nobility. In the style of the times, and in order to provide a more relaxing atmosphere, several foreign-looking buildings were spread around the park, each with its own character and designed to fit a particular need. The Swiss house, or Schweizerhütten, was built at the foot of a Bronze Age tumulus close to the manor house on the verge of the entrance drive. It was originally the home of the gardener, but it had some beautifully decorated rooms under its thatched roof where guests could stay. In January 1777, he married Katharina Elisabeth Iselin, the daughter of the Swiss Baron Reinhard Iselin, who had also emigrated to Denmark. In 1783, Antoine was appointed prefect of Møn. The same year, he bought 6 hectares of land on the eastern coast of the island in the parish of Maglaby. He and his wife, who travelled widely, had become interested in Jean-Jacques Rousseau's philosophy of naturalism in the Age of Enlightenment. As a result, Antoine designed the park in the romantic spirit of the time as a loving gift for his wife. It was intended as a retreat where the family could spend a few days or weeks at a time, often with invited guests, away from the hardships of their working lives at Marienborg on the other side of the island. Antoine and Lise were not able to enjoy the park for very long. He died in 1803 and his wife in 1805. Their son Charles then took over Liselund, but after his death in 1821 it was sold to a friend, Frederik Raben Levetzau Heutfeld, who died in 1828, and his wife, Emerentia Rosenkrantz Heutfeld, who died in 1843. The estate was then inherited by her nephew, Baron Gottlob Rosenkrantz, until 1884, when it was bought by his son Baron Fritz Rosenkrantz. In 1936, it was transferred to his eldest son, Baron Erik Rosenkrantz, then to Erik's brother Niels in 1956. In 1973, it was transferred to Baron Niels Henrik Rosenkrantz, until, owing to the increasing costs of maintaining the estate, the summer manor and park became the property of the Danish state, to be administered by the National Museum of Denmark. But the area of land Antoine de la Calmette bought in 1783 was partly marshy, partly wooded. It bore no resemblance to the park which can be seen today, however natural it may now seem. The ground first had to be drained, cleared and levelled. Then, in accordance with contemporary standards, it was landscaped and planted with a range of trees, some quite rare, including oaks, sweet chestnuts, walnuts, mulberry, spruce and cypress. The park was designed to be poetic, with the gentle undulations of its terrain and its many lakes. Indeed, water was a key element of any romantic garden. But it also had contrasts, for example the sheer Devil's Ravine with its Devil's Bridge, where, in rainy weather, water from the lakes cascades down to the sea. Today the park provides a quite unexpected experience for those who enter through the chestnut-bordered avenue leading into the park from the main road to the west. Liselund Gammelslot, literally Liselund Old Palace, is a rather small country home built in the French neoclassical style. It is exceptional in that it has a thatched roof. Like the park itself, the house was designed by Andreas Kirkerup, one of the foremost landscape architects of the times. It lies against the slope of the eastern hill, beside a small pond, and overlooks the park to the north. The building is T-shaped with the main rooms on the ground floor, the first floor consisting of 9 bedrooms. The interior was probably decorated and furnished by the leading decorator of the day, Joseph Christian Lilly. Many of the wall decorations and some of the furniture date back to the original design. Among the most impressive rooms are the entree, an airy room opening onto the garden, the spacious dining hall, the ghost room which was Lisa's boudoir, and the monkey room with its monkey mirror. The monkey at the top of the bamboo frame mirror may well be in remembrance of a pet monkey who helped save the family during the Lisbon earthquake in 1755. Other rooms include the family room with several portraits, the Calmette parlour and the ladies' chamber, one of the larger bedrooms. While the gardens are open throughout the year, the thatched manor is open to the public with guided visits during the summer months only. In the style of the times, and in order to provide a more relaxing atmosphere, several foreign-looking buildings were spread around the park, each with its own character and designed to fit a particular need. The Swiss house, or Schweizerhütten, was built at the foot of a Bronze Age tumulus, close to the manor house on the verge of the entrance drive. It was originally the home of the gardener, but it had some beautifully decorated rooms under its thatched roof, where guests could stay. The Chinese summer house, or Dek Kinesiske Listhus, stands on top of the western hill and looks down over the lakes towards the sea. The weeping ash to the left adds to the Chinese flavour of the site. It was quite usual to include Chinese pagodas in romantically styled gardens. No doubt guests could be taken there for a short walk and a cup of Chinese tea. The Norwegian house, or Det Norske Hus, was built close to the cliffs in a rugged, hilly area, which seen through Danish eyes would resemble a Norwegian landscape. Its only Norwegian elements, however, are the sham logs intended to make it look like a typical log building. They're just rounded planks nailed to the constructive timber-framed walls. The steep thatched roof is a purely Danish feature. A typical Norwegian house would have a more gently sloping sod roof. The guest rooms inside are quite different, with a Chinese and a Pompeian room. One notable feature is the small yellow glass opening in the shutters, which gave the impression of moonlight, however brightly the sun might be shining outside. Liselund New Slot, literally Liselund New Manor, was built in 1887 by Baron Fritz Rosenkrantz, whose father, Gottlob, had inherited the estate in 1843. It stands majestically at the top of the western slope, overlooking the largest of the park's lakes and the sea beyond. Built in the Italian style and decorated with fine ceiling frescoes, stucco and wall panels, the new manor was used by the Rosenkrantz family until the 1960s. It was sold to the state in 1980, but lay empty for many years until it was bought by Krista and Stefan Stephenson in 1989, who converted it into an attractive hotel. The parks contains a number of ornamental monuments, most concerned with love and friendship. The path leading down towards the manor house from the south passes a monument dedicated to l'amitié, or friendship. Known as Shrieve Monumente, it was a gift from Lise to her husband during the 1780s. It bears the inscription, "A l'amitié pure to pure friendship." Another monument close to the stream down to the cliffs is labelled Endroit Chérie de Lise, Lisa's favourite spot. The park has had many well-known visitors, particularly during the period when Martha de la Calmette, Antoine's daughter-in-law, lived there as a widow for 57 years until her death in 1877. They included the Danish romantic poet Adam Gottlob Erlenschlager and the sculptor Bertel Thorvaldsen. But the most famous of all was Hans Christian Andersen, who visited the park in the summer of 1829 when he was only 24 and found it delightful. Liselund must have made a deep impression on Andersen, as his poem Klinte Korset par Møn, or Møn's Cliff Cross, was inspired by a large wooden cross at the edge of the cliff. The original cross fell into the sea in a landslide in 1905, but a new cross stands close by today. It is also believed that the large hollow willow beside the Swiss house could have inspired him to write the story, The Tinderbox.